Dallas Area Crisis Response Team is an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization that provides critical incident stress management, or CISM, services to local hospital, police, fire, and EMS personnel. Early observations of critical incident stress came from the military. The work done with veterans of the Vietnam War led to the medical diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. No longer are veterans and victims of violent crime the only persons diagnosed with PTSD. Nurses, physicians, firefighters, police officers, and EMS workers are all subject to severe job-related stress. By definition, a critical incident is any event that is extraordinary and produces significant reactions in personnel. The incident is so unusual that it overwhelms the usual, normal activities that personnel use to cope with a traumatic incident. Some examples of critical incidents include death or injury to children, mass casualty incidents, line of duty death, injury or death of a coworker, suicide of a coworker, incidents where mistakes happen, the human sound of pain, death of patients we're particularly close to, excessive media attention, or prolonged rescue or resuscitation. It is important to note that critical incidents are very unusual and individual. What bothers one member of the healthcare or rescue crew may not bother the others. Through a process of peer-guided counseling, we assist your personnel in returning to normal function following a traumatic incident. Critical incident stress management has been proven to greatly reduce tardiness, sick days, and employee turnover following major incidents that might impact your personnel. The Dallas Area Crisis Response Team is comprised of licensed counselors, nurses, police officers, firefighters, paramedics, social workers, chaplains, and others that are deeply committed to assisting emergency and healthcare workers with job-related stress.
Well, about 9 years ago, I was a firefighter down in Bryan, Texas before coming up here to Grand Prairie. And we had been toned out for a major accident on a highway with a side street. It was a minivan with a mother, the grandmother, and 5 small children, all under the age of 7 in the back seat. And they had pulled out onto the highway in front of a fully loaded cement truck. When we got there, I was first on scene. The children in the back of the vehicle were all trapped. The grandmother, she was just dead on scene, and the mother didn't have a scratch on her. She was up walking around. So I had a paramedic student with me at the time. This was his second ride out. He was a pretty sharp guy. It's his second ride out, and this was about middle of the day, middle of the tour for him. So we extricated 2 of the children, which became CPR real quick. We intubated them, we dropped the lines, we were continuing CPR on them, and it was a pretty gruesome scene. They were pretty tore up. None of them were restrained whatsoever. So here we were, myself and a paramedic student in the back, working 2 full-blown trauma codes on 2 kids. I didn't realize it myself. I have 5 children. I have 5 boys from 13 to 3. And I didn't realize how it had impacted me, but I didn't notice these things. My wife had picked up on it. And I was much more protective over my children over the next coming weeks. Well, we scheduled a critical incident stress debriefing. It was actually my first one. Things were a little bit easier. It took a little time. The debriefing itself wasn't some magic pill that made it all go away. It was a platform for me to express my feelings in a way that you can't necessarily do around the firehouse with the guys. It doesn't take anything away from you. It doesn't mean you're any less of a man or anything else, because there might be someone else that's feeling the same exact way as you are, but they're not strong enough to step up and say something about it. It's just something to recognize that, yes, this did go on. Yes, this is what I'm feeling about it. And like I said, give you a different platform to talk about it.
I had family members that came to me and said that they could, tell that it was affecting me, because they knew what had happened without, going into the details of it, especially initially. While this investigation was still going on, they could tell that, it was taking a toll. Officers responded to a 911 call in Rowlett I was the first supervisor on the scene, the second person on the scene that night, and you know, no matter what you think police work prepares you for, it doesn't prepare you to see two kids that have been, you know, brutalized like that. So, you know, nobody thinks that they can show emotion, and if they do, then it makes them weak. I think being able to talk about it and to get those feelings out and realize that everybody else was going through those same feelings was very, very beneficial. Just the fact that we were able to talk about it in a group of our peers, I think it made it very beneficial, and it was very productive.
An acquaintance that worked with us in the medical field that was killed on the job and brought to our hospital, went to our ER, and we all knew this person. It seemed to affect us differently. Couldn't seem to concentrate, kept reflecting. Was there something we could have done different? Couldn't really seem to function at my best. After the debriefing, I felt like you know, a weight was lifted off my shoulders, and that, you know, I didn't have to try to hide my feelings and be strong, you know, and this doesn't bother me, because I knew that everybody else had kind of done the same thing. I felt very comfortable. It was very relaxed. Felt comfortable in letting out emotion and knowing that I wasn't the only one feeling or going through this.
We are an all-volunteer organization. Therefore, we do not charge for our services. If you need assistance following an incident, you may contact any CISM team member or CareFlight Communications at 1-800-442-6260, where the on-call personnel will be contacted. Please remember that we are all volunteers with paying jobs, so it may take a day or two to mobilize resources for your incident. Our team keeps your team on the job.
Critical incident can be a minor wreck where someone's hurt, but just that one particular thing can get you. It could be a mass casualty incident. It could be anything that triggers something inside of you.
The crisis intervention is a great program. It's good for any police department. There's no department that should not have a formalized policy dealing with it now.
Encourage others to go out and take advantage of it also, because there are people out there that care and can help.